If you're over 60 and trying your best to stay active, you've probably been told countless times, exercise is the key to a longer life. And yes, that's true, but not all exercise is created equal, especially when it comes to your heart. In fact, there are 5 common exercises I see seniors doing every day that may be putting serious, hidden stress on your heart. And if you keep doing them, they could slowly wear down your most vital organ without you even realizing it. Now, I know you mean well. You're walking more, lifting weights, maybe even joining a local senior fitness class. But here's the hard truth. Some exercises that seem safe on the surface can actually spike your blood pressure, strain your arteries, and throw your heart rhythm out of balance, especially after age 60. I've had patients in their 60s, 70s, and 80s come to me confused, saying, "Dr. Rose, I exercise every day, but I'm more tired, my blood pressure is getting worse, and I just don't feel right." And every time, we trace it back to the same risky movements, exercises that are completely wrong for older adults with aging hearts. My name is Dr. Linda Rose. I've worked with seniors for over 20 years, helping people just like you move better, feel better, and live longer, without making avoidable heart mistakes. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 exercises you need to stop doing right away, and what to do instead, so you can stay strong, mobile, and most importantly, heart healthy. Before we get started, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell, so you never miss a simple, science-backed health tip, designed especially for older adults like you. If you find this video helpful, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0. Your feedback is invaluable and helps me improve these videos for your benefit. Now, let's begin. Exercise 1. Intense high-impact jogging. Let me be very honest with you, this is the one I see the most. Seniors often think, if I want a strong heart, I should jog. That belief comes from younger years, when jogging was trendy and heart healthy. But after your 60s, your body works differently, especially your heart. Jogging at a fast pace, especially on hard pavement or treadmill belts, can do more harm than good. When you're younger, your blood vessels are more flexible and your heart recovers quickly. But in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, your arteries are more rigid, your heart muscles may be thickened, and recovery takes much longer. High-impact jogging creates repeated, jarring pressure on your entire cardiovascular system. Each time your foot strikes the ground, it sends a shock wave from your knees to your chest. And if you're already dealing with high blood pressure, arrhythmias, or heart valve issues, that shock isn't just uncomfortable, it can be dangerous. I've had patients come to me after months of jogging saying, "Dr. Rose, I'm trying so hard to stay healthy, but I'm exhausted, dizzy, and my legs hurt more than ever." When I check their heart rhythm, oxygen levels, and even kidney function, I often find elevated stress markers, all tied to overexertion from improper exercise. One case that still breaks my heart was a man in his early 70s, fit, cheerful, and very disciplined. He jogged 3 miles every morning because he read it was good for his heart. But he ignored the signs, shortness of breath, mild chest tightness, and trouble sleeping. One morning, after his usual jog, he collapsed. Thankfully, he survived. But after that scare, he agreed to switch to low-impact walking, and we rebuilt his heart health the right way. Jogging also increases your risk of falls. And believe me, a fall at 70 is not like a fall at 30. Your bones are more fragile, your reflexes slower, and a single misstep could lead to a hip fracture, internal bleeding, or traumatic stress on the heart itself. I've seen patients go from fully independent to nursing home care, not because of disease, but because of one bad fall after a jog. Here's what I recommend instead: brisk walking on soft terrain like a park path, indoor mall, or even grass. Walking gets your heart rate up without shocking your joints or spiking your blood pressure. You still burn calories, improve blood circulation, and feel energized, but with far less risk. You can make it even more enjoyable by walking with a friend, listening to music, or simply observing nature. If you feel like walking isn't enough of a workout, you can add light hand weights, gentle arm swings, or walking poles for stability. The key is to move in a way that supports your heart, not one that secretly damages it. Your heart needs rhythm, not chaos. Also, monitor your breathing. You should be able to talk comfortably while you walk. If you're gasping or struggling to speak, you're pushing too hard. Remember, the goal isn't to beat your younger self, it's to protect your future self. What matters most is consistency, not intensity. So if you've been jogging out of habit or guilt, I'm here to tell you, it's okay to stop. You're not quitting. You're evolving. You're choosing wisdom over wear and tear. Your heart deserves gentle, steady movement. Trust me, that's how we build real strength in our later years. Exercise 2. Heavy weightlifting without supervision. This next one might surprise you, especially if you've been told lifting weights builds strength and prevents muscle loss, and it does. But here's the danger. Lifting heavy weights without proper supervision or form after age 60 can silently strain your heart more than you realize. And for many of my senior patients, this habit is doing more damage than benefit. I've seen it happen time and again. An older adult walks into a gym, sees younger folks pushing big weights, and thinks, if they can do it, I can, too. Or worse, they remember their own strength from decades ago and try to match it. That mindset is where the danger begins. What they don't realize is that as the body ages, the blood vessels become stiffer, the heart has to work harder to maintain pressure, and lifting heavy objects can cause sudden spikes in blood pressure, sometimes even doubling it. I remember a woman in her late 60s, healthy, active, no known heart issues, who came to me after feeling faint during a workout. She was doing squats with a barbell, something she used to do in her 40s. But her heart couldn't handle the strain anymore. She had developed a condition called exercise-induced hypertension. In simple terms, her blood pressure was shooting up like a rocket every time she lifted, and her heart was bearing the brunt of it. Another issue is that many seniors hold their breath while lifting, which can trigger something called the Valsalva maneuver, a dangerous situation where intrathoracic pressure rises dramatically. That pressure can interfere with the normal rhythm of the heart, reduce oxygen to the brain, and even lead to fainting or cardiac episodes. Trust me, I've seen it firsthand, and it can be terrifying. Now don't get me wrong. I am not against resistance training. In fact, it's essential for maintaining bone strength, balance, and metabolism in your senior years. But it must be done smartly, safely, and always under supervision. That means lighter weights, slower repetitions, proper breathing, and if possible, working with a trainer who understands senior physiology. Machines are generally safer than free weights for older adults, especially those with balance concerns. Here's what I recommend to my patients. Use light resistance bands or 2 to 5 pound dumbbells, and focus on high repetitions, 15 to 20 per set. This builds endurance and maintains muscle without overwhelming your cardiovascular system. I also encourage exercises using your own body weight, like chair stands, wall push-ups, or gentle yoga poses. These promote circulation, joint strength, and balance, all while keeping your heart in a safe zone. And please, if you ever feel dizzy, short of breath, or tightness in your chest while lifting, stop immediately. Don't power through it. Your heart is not a muscle to test, it's one to protect. It's not worth risking a heart rhythm disorder, a hypertensive crisis, or worse, all for the sake of feeling strong. The truth is, real strength in your 60s and beyond isn't about lifting heavy, it's about moving smart. Choose exercises that nourish your body, not ones that break it down. Your heart will thank you for years to come. Exercise 3. Hot yoga or intense heat-based workouts. Now this one might raise some eyebrows. After all, yoga has a calming, healthy reputation, and in most cases, it is an amazing practice. But hot yoga or any kind of intense heat-based workout can be dangerous territory for seniors, especially those with underlying heart conditions. And yet, more and more older adults are stepping into heated studios, thinking they're doing something good for their bodies. Here's the truth. Once you enter your 60s or 70s, your body's ability to regulate temperature naturally begins to decline. That means your heart has to work twice as hard to keep your core temperature stable during high heat activities. You start sweating more, breathing faster, and your heart begins pumping faster to compensate. And in a hot yoga session, where temperatures can reach up to 105 degrees Fahrenheit, this internal stress can become a silent threat. I had a patient, a lovely woman in her early 70s, who joined a hot yoga class because her daughter swore it helped with flexibility and detox. She told me, "Dr. Rose, I felt lightheaded, my heart was racing, and I had this tight pressure in my chest. But everyone else was doing fine, so I kept going." What she didn't realize is that her body was going into heat-induced cardiovascular stress. She nearly fainted on the mat, and later we found she was experiencing something called thermal overload, which caused her blood pressure to crash and her heart rhythm to become unstable. Exercising in extreme heat dehydrates your body faster, thickens your blood, and puts enormous pressure on your heart to maintain circulation. This can trigger irregular heartbeats, dizziness, or in worst-case scenarios, a cardiac event. And the danger is even higher if you're on medications like beta blockers, diuretics, or blood pressure pills, which already alter how your body manages heat and fluid balance. I want to be clear. I love yoga. In fact, I recommend it often. But I only recommend traditional, non-heated yoga or gentle restorative classes for my senior patients. These classes provide all the benefits: improved flexibility, better balance, mental calm, without forcing your heart into overdrive. And if you're doing yoga at home, that's even better. Just make sure your environment is cool and well ventilated. Practice deep breathing. Move slowly. Listen to your body. If your heart starts racing or you feel dizzy when transitioning between poses, sit down and rest. Your body is speaking. Don't ignore it. There's a myth out there that sweating more means you're getting a better workout. That's simply not true, especially not in your 70s or 80s. The goal is not to suffer or push your limits until exhaustion. It's to move with grace, breathe deeply, and leave the session feeling better, not weaker. So please, if you're considering hot yoga or have been attending heated classes, ask yourself why. If it's about flexibility, there are safer paths. If it's about community, there are cool temperature alternatives. And if it's about proving something to yourself, remember, protecting your heart is the greatest strength of all. Exercise 4. Rapid, high-intensity interval training, HIIT. I know how tempting it can be. You see a video online or a commercial that promises, burn fat fast. Boost your heart health in just 20 minutes with HIIT. And yes, high-intensity interval training can be incredibly effective for younger bodies. But if you're in your 60s, 70s or beyond, this style of training can quickly cross the line from helpful to harmful, especially for your heart. High-intensity interval training involves short bursts of very intense effort, like sprinting, jumping jacks, or burpees, followed by brief rest periods. This creates sudden surges in heart rate, pushing your cardiovascular system to its maximum. In younger adults, that can build endurance. But in seniors, it often puts unnecessary and even dangerous strain on an aging heart. I had a gentleman in his late 60s come to me, frustrated. He said, "Dr. Rose, I've been doing online HIIT workouts every morning, and I just feel worse. I'm dizzy, out of breath, and sometimes my heart races for hours afterward." When we ran tests, we found he had exercise-induced atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat brought on by repeated stress from his workouts. And this man thought he was doing the right thing. What people don't understand is that the aging heart is less adaptable. It doesn't recover as quickly between those high-stress bursts. And your blood pressure doesn't stabilize as easily after sudden exertion. That means every time you go from 0 to 100 in a few seconds, your cardiovascular system gets shocked. And over time, this can lead to hypertension, arrhythmias, or even heart failure. HIIT can also disrupt breathing patterns, leading to oxygen drops in the blood, which puts even more strain on your heart. And the fast transitions, jumping from one move to the next, often lead to falls, joint injuries, or sudden overexertion. You may not notice the effects immediately, but over weeks or months, your heart will. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't challenge yourself, but it needs to be the right kind of challenge. What I recommend instead is something I call low-intensity steady-state exercise, or LISS. This could be a 30-minute walk, gentle biking, swimming, or even dancing at a moderate pace. It keeps your heart rate in a safe, consistent range, improves circulation, and builds endurance without spiking your blood pressure or causing cardiac stress. If you enjoy the idea of intervals, do it gently. Walk for 5 minutes, then pick up the pace for 1 minute. Just a little faster, not a sprint. Then return to your normal pace. That's what I do with many of my patients, and it gives them all the benefits without the danger. And one more thing. Never compare your workout to someone younger or even to your past self. You are in a different season of life now, and your heart deserves training that respects that. You're not failing by going slow, you're succeeding by being wise. So please, if you're following a HIIT program or trying to push through fast-paced, high-impact circuits, take a pause. Your heart doesn't need punishment, it needs partnership. It needs you to work with it, not against it. And when you move with that kind of care, your heart will carry you beautifully into your next decade of life. Exercise 5. Deep squats and heavy leg press machines. Let's talk about an exercise that's often praised for building lower body strength, but can quietly place a dangerous burden on your heart. Deep squats and heavy leg presses. You may not think of these as heart-threatening movements, but for seniors, they're among the most deceptive exercises when it comes to cardiovascular strain. You see, when you perform a deep squat or push a heavy load on a leg press machine, you're engaging some of the largest muscles in your body. Your quadriceps, hamstrings, and glutes. That might sound like a good thing. And yes, strengthening your legs is essential as you age to avoid falls and maintain mobility. But here's what most people don't realize. Using those big muscles under high resistance sends an enormous amount of blood demand to the lower body, all at once. Your heart is suddenly forced to pump harder and faster to keep up. It's like revving an old engine into high gear. Even worse, many people hold their breath during the lift, especially at the hardest part of the movement. This causes internal pressure in the chest to spike, triggering a dangerous drop in blood return to the heart, a phenomenon that can lead to lightheadedness, irregular rhythms, or even a loss of consciousness. This is no exaggeration. I've had patients who fainted mid-lift. Their hearts were simply overwhelmed. One man I worked with, in his early 70s, was using a leg press machine at his gym. He'd loaded it up to keep up with the younger guys, and he told me proudly, "I'm still pushing 250 pounds, Dr. Rose." What he didn't tell me until after his hospital visit was that he'd been experiencing pounding in his chest, shortness of breath, and even moments of blurred vision after every session. That heavy effort caused repeated blood pressure spikes and stress on his heart valves, something he'd never connected to his workout. And let's not forget the joint risks. Deep squats put pressure on the knees, hips, and lower back, especially when flexibility is reduced in older age. Combine that with the danger of falling or overloading the spine, and it becomes a recipe for both heart and orthopedic problems. So what should you do instead? I always guide my senior patients toward modified lower body exercises that build strength gradually without extreme effort. Chair squats, where you sit down and stand up slowly using your legs, are excellent. Step-ups on a low platform, wall sits for short durations, or resistance bands around the thighs can all be safe, effective ways to maintain strong legs without overworking your heart. And instead of pushing a heavy load, focus on form, control, and breath. Breathe out as you push up or stand. Never hold your breath. Keep movements shallow and stable. And if you feel your heart pounding in your ears or chest, stop immediately and rest. That's not your body getting stronger, that's your heart sounding the alarm. You don't need to lift like a bodybuilder to stay mobile and independent. The goal in your 60s, 70s, and beyond isn't brute force. It's balanced strength and cardiovascular safety. Remember, every smart movement today adds more years and freedom to your life tomorrow. If you've made it to the end of this video, I want to thank you. It means you care about your heart, your health, and your future, and that is something to be proud of. You see, aging isn't about slowing down, it's about choosing wisely how you move forward. And by understanding which exercises can do harm and which ones help, you're giving yourself the best chance at a strong, vibrant, and independent life. As a doctor who has worked with thousands of seniors over the years, I can tell you this. Your body still has so much potential, but it needs your protection. Your heart doesn't want punishment. It doesn't want extremes. It wants rhythm, balance, consistency, and kindness. And the beautiful truth? You can still build strength, energy, and confidence without pushing your heart past its limits. So whether it's letting go of high-impact jogging, saying goodbye to heavy lifting, or skipping that hot yoga class, know this: you're not giving up. You're growing smarter. You're making space for safer, more effective movement that supports the life you want to live. If this video helped you, please take a second to give it a thumbs up, share it with someone you love, and make sure you're subscribed. I share science-backed, heart-safe health tips every week that are designed just for older adults like you. Remember, your best years aren't behind you. They're still ahead, if you treat your heart like the treasure it truly is. Until next time, I'm Dr. Linda Rose. Stay kind to yourself, and keep moving forward, safely and with purpose.